Contractors have to think like business people. Most contractors struggle to get ahead. They miss out on bid dates. They feel like they're always stuck working in their business. You're trying to grow, but it almost seems impossible. And you feel stuck, and sometimes it feels like throwing in the towel. There is a way. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to grow your business, whether you're a one-man operation or a small business, a small operation, and I'm gonna teach you how to do it in a way where it doesn't need you. So you can literally take a vacation. Actually, let me ask you, put in the comments below, when was the last time you took a vacation from your construction business? So I'm actually running a little experiment. A very good friend of mine, he's a computer programmer, and he literally knows nothing about construction. And he decided that he wanted to start a construction company. Maybe it was my amazing YouTube videos that convinced him. So this guy is an expert at programming. His name is Jose. And actually someone recently that I know, they described him as the Michael Jordan of programming. So this guy's legit. This guy has a successful business, and he decided that he wanted to start a framing and drywall business. As a new framing and drywall business owner, he's been relentlessly sending bids, meeting clients, doing the follow-up like a business owner. And we've been bidding for about 6 weeks now. Hasn't even been that long. And he's about to land 2 projects totaling $250,000 in framing and drywall contracts. So once he starts doing that work, it'll probably be like 2 months worth of work at the same time. He's gonna profit about $50,000. Think about that. It took him 6 weeks, but he's a business owner. He thinks like a business owner. And best of all, he's gonna subcontract all the work. Now granted, I'm gonna hook him up with people that I know, subcontractors that I know that can actually do the entire work that I could vouch for. So the point I'm trying to make is he doesn't know anything about construction, and he's making things happen. And actually, as a matter of fact, this is funny. The other day, he called me up and he's like, what's a deflection track? If you're framing and drywall, you know exactly what that is. So I always say that the very best business people in construction are not construction people. Businessmen, lawyers, accountants, marketers that know how to analyze data. These are the best people that will actually grow a construction business because they're focused on the systems, the processes, and the business. So where a lot of contractors get in trouble is they're busy in the operations, so they can't really focus on the sales. So how do we do it? We need to separate the construction and the operations activities from the business and revenue producing activities. In short, you have to work on the business, not work in the business. So you need to run your company like if you weren't there. So you need to be the advisor, the consultant, the air traffic controller, maybe even a trainer, but you can't be stuck working in the business. So like my old boss told me, and he's like, Daniel, you must work on the business, not in the business. All right, so here's a challenge to you. Let's see if you can do it. 30 days, figure out a way to get other people to do everything for you. Pretend that you're dumb, pretend you don't know about construction, pretend you don't know anything, because believe it or not, the fact of you knowing how to do this stuff, it's gonna be a hindrance to you. It's gonna make you wanna jump in, because most of the time contractors are like if you're like anything like me, you're like, oh, I can do it. I'm the best person to do that. Or I can do it better than this guy. And the truth is you probably can, but you have to be able to train your people. So 30-day challenge, figure out how to get other people to do everything for you, to run your crews, to do your estimating, to run your project management, to do your billing, figure that out. So why do contractors have such a hard time doing this? Part of it is the mindset of, I can do it better myself. And I struggle with that. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. In my mind, I'm the best estimator in the United States of America. Well, I really am, but but if I wanna grow my business, I have to transfer my brain into somebody else. I have to teach them what I know. So if you're actually as good as you think you are, then the true test is gonna be, can you train someone to do it exactly like you, or maybe even better? So one of my clients, Matt Hensley, he's a plumbing contractor out of Arizona. He does home developments, big projects. And when I first started with him, he was doing about $600,000. He was a relatively new company. He joined our 8-figure contractor sales academy, and I taught him how to do the prospecting, how to do the leads, and he just overnight blew up. It was crazy. And he actually managed to sell $20 million in contracts. In his first year of work, he lined up his next 3 years of his pipeline. So he literally has contracts set up that are gonna go out the next 3 years. And how did he do it? So he is a majority partner in his company. So there's 2 other partners, and he focuses on the project management, the estimating, and the overall business side of the company, the business activities. And one of his partners is focused 100% on the field. So he is his general superintendent. Nothing gets escalated to Matt unless it's contract related or business related. If it's something to do with the field or plumbing or some sort of crews or any issues on the field, it's ran by this guy. Then the other partner, his sole job is to recruit and train plumbers. So they actually have a 16-week on-the-job training. So they can literally take a guy off the street, train them up, somebody that was zero knowledge, train them up, and in 16 weeks, him be either a W-2 employee, or sometimes they put them on a 1099 and they have them as a piece worker, depending on what the person's goals are. Sometimes they want to have their own company and they train them up and they just become like a subcontractor to them. So he himself has solved the labor shortage. And if you've been in construction, you know how hard it is that nowadays it's really hard to find good crews, reliable crews that know what they're doing, that are quick, fast, and they're really good at their trade. It's really hard to find that. So he said, screw it, I'm going to develop it myself. I'm going to find my own guys, and we're going to train them, and we're going to get them up to speed so that I don't need to rely on other people. So that's the trio. So he's the business side, his partner's the field side, and the other partner is the recruiting and training side. So I actually asked him, how often do you go to the job site? And he's like, never. He goes, I only go if I want to visit the client or if I want to check in on the project, but I don't go to do any actual supervising. So what is the takeaway here? The takeaway is that whenever you can, give away 50% of your business to a partner. No, actually, that's not the takeaway. I'm just kidding. He did it with a partner, but you can actually do it with strategic employees. So if you notice, one guy is a general superintendent and the other guy is a trainer. That's it. That's what they are. And in his case, he decided to bring them on board as partners because he wanted to make sure that they stuck long term. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go give away 50% of your company to these people, or to some other people just because of their skill level. At a certain point, you might say, hey, listen, this guy's so important to my operation that I want to give him 20% of the company in exchange for him coming, 100% being all in with me. So what you want to do is, if you're not going to give away your business, we got to get them as employees, strategic employees. These are not like guys off the street. These are people that know what they're doing. They've been trained up. They have years of experience, 10, 20 years of experience, and you want them to help you grow your company. So chances are right now, if you're watching this video, you probably can't just right now hire a bunch of people. Like, these are high level salaries. These are people that have been there. They've done that. They have years of experience, 10, 20 years. And chances are you're not going to have these $100,000 salaries. You're not going to be able to support that right now. So we got to start thinking like a business owner. And as a business entrepreneur, we got to think, all right, what's the plan to be able to afford the salaries to bring these people on board? Because ultimately the goal that you want to do is you want to buy back your time. You want to hire people that are smarter than you or as smart as you that can do the work that you don't have to train them up. All right. So who are these people? One is a general superintendent. Two is an estimator or an estimating team, essentially someone that can output a greater volume of bids for you. Number three, a project manager. This is someone that's going to run your contracts, your project management as a whole. Number four, your bookkeeper and accountant. This is the money person. This is the person that's doing the payroll. This is the one that's doing the AI billings, the money person. So our goal here, our long-term goal here is to develop a system where we are the manager or the air traffic controller for the entire organization, and you should do zero work in the business. So you should literally never form another footing again. You should never have to be sitting on a job site trailer managing a project. The goal is to get you out of that. You need to think business owner, slacks, long sleeve shirt, no drywall dust, clean shoes, no more boots. All right, so how are we gonna do this? Step one is we need to increase company revenue so that we can have money to play with. And step two is we need to recruit and train these strategic employees. So step one, how do we increase our revenue so we can have money to hire these people? So in short, we got to sell more jobs. All right. So we have to sell more projects, bring more money in the door. What does that actually mean? In order to sell more jobs, we have to estimate more jobs. And in order to estimate more jobs, we need to find more leads. So what we've done is we've deconstructed what we need to do. We know what the goal is, and now we know what the end goals are. So, right, the end goals are that we need to sell more jobs and we need to get more leads so we can estimate those jobs, right? So step one is we need to develop our unlimited lead system. All right. So this is what I call the unlimited lead system. Develop a lead system that will bring in leads on autopilot with minimal work on your part. Number two, we need to estimate more volume of work, output of bids. Simple. So if all we focus is figuring out how to get leads in the door, and then figuring out how to just bid faster and bid more volume, done, mission accomplished. Now we have more money, we're gonna win jobs, and now we have the salaries, we have the money to pay for these salaries. I actually cover how to do all this in my 8-Figure Contractor Sales Academy in depth. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a link in the description below in case you're interested in checking it out. All right, so the lead generation system, how do you do it? If you're a GC, you're gonna need to go prospecting. So you're gonna need to get on vendor lists, you're gonna need to meet architecture firms, developers, construction management firms. These are the people that are gonna eventually hire you. So you're gonna wanna use tools like Blue Book, Dodge. You're going to use Google to find these people. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to reach out to them and introduce yourself, shake hands, look people eye to eye, and small talk. So I always say small talk wins jobs. All right. I cover that extensively in my program. If you're a subcontractor, your goal is to find general contractors and get on their bid list. The three important questions, whether you're a GC or a sub, that you want to ask is, number one, can I bid this project? All right. So let's assume you went to Dodge or Blue Book and you found that they're currently the architect or they're the general contractor working on a project. You know the name of it. So you say, number one, can I bid this project, right? The answer is usually yes. Number two, what other projects do you have coming up? So typically all these construction companies or architecture firms, they always have something they're working on. they just got awarded a job that they have to buy out, or they just were given a new job that they have to estimate to try to win, or they're in the middle of construction, something. So they always have something going on. You might come in and they might have, hey, by the way, we have 3 projects that we have to buy out. That's actually happened to me. When I used to go visiting with my old boss, there are times that I would walk in the door, meet these guys, and they're like, hey, by the way, I'm actually working on this 3-story building. That happened to me once. I'm working on this 3-story apartment building that we just, it's a negotiated contract, so we're about to win the contract. You want to give me a bid for it? And I'm like, of course I want to give you a bid for that. A negotiated contract? Are you kidding me? And number 3, can I get on your bid list or your vendor list? So every architecture firm, they have their preferred vendor list. Every developer, they have their list. Every construction management firm, they have their list. Every general contractor has their list of subs that they want to reach out to whenever they have a project. So you want to get on those lists so that you can have repeat, fresh, new projects coming in the door every single day. All right, so that's the unlimited lead system. The next thing you're going to need to do is increase your bid volume output. So you have to estimate more projects. So here you have 4 options. All right, option number 1 is do it yourself. This is not recommended. I don't recommend this at all. But you might not have any money right now to hire somebody or to get it done, so you might have to go this route. So the way you want to do it is you want to use digital takeoff software like Plan Swift or Bluebeam, and that's going to speed up your bid output. You could use a construction cost database like National Construction Estimator by Craftsman. You can use RS Means, or you can build your own database. Like, that's super easy. Number 2, you can hire an estimator. So an estimator costs about $100,000 per year in salary, plus workers' comp, payroll taxes, vacation, benefits, office, medical, a bunch of stuff. So they end up costing usually closer to like $120,000 to $150,000 a year. But it is valuable if you can have somebody in your office that can help you bid on a greater output. Number 3, you could hire a cheap young guy, maybe your kids. Typically, these young guys, they have little to no experience, and you're going to usually pay with your time. You're not going to pay money, but you're going to pay with your time to train them. And there's a big chance that in the middle of one of these projects, they're going to make a mistake that you're not going to notice until later when you're in the middle of construction that you're running out of money on the job. So at the end of the day, maybe hiring a young guy isn't the best route. Or number 4, you can hire a qualified estimating firm. The benefits of an estimating firm are that you can literally solve all of your problems with the click of a button. All you have to do typically is forward your plans and your scope, and voila, in a few days, you're going to have an estimate. Using an estimating firm, you can scale your business pretty quickly without having to hire a bunch of salaries and having that burden of payroll and worrying that you got to make sure you got to make payroll every single week. So it's super valuable to have a company that you can literally just outsource your bids to. And if you're using a good estimating firm, they're going to carry something that is called a professional liability for errors and omissions that covers your project in case there's a loss on the job, or they're missing, or they completely miss something. By the way, if you do need help estimating, we're here to help. It should never be a crutch to you. Estimating should never be the thing that stops you from growing your business. So if you do need help, I'm going to put a link in the description below so you can schedule a call with one of my account managers. Now, here's a warning. warning. There are a lot of estimating firms that are actually based overseas, India, Pakistan, the Middle East, and they don't have any experience in actual construction, like 0 US-based construction experience. Some of them show up on the Google searches, like like in New York, Texas, California. So just make sure whoever you use, hopefully you use us, but if you don't want to use us for any reason, make sure whoever you do choose to use, you vet them, talk to them, have at least a meeting or a phone call to make sure that they know what they're talking about. All right, so now you've set up your limited lead system, you're submitting more bids, you're getting a lot of activity, and if you do this consistently, I'm telling you, know what I'm saying, if you do this consistently, you're gonna land commercial work back to back to back to back. It's gonna be like boom, 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 boom. It's kind of like popcorn. Like, have you ever seen like when you put popcorn in the microwave, it's like after like 2 or 3 minutes, it's like pop, 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 pop. Like out of nowhere, it just blows up. That's how commercial construction is too, because typically there's a 3 to 6 month period that once you submit your bid, they're getting permits, the architect is doing revisions, plan reviews, they're getting financing, the bank, things like that. And all those things delay the award of a job. If you're doing a bigger project, there's usually a lot more plan review, there's more issues with financing, and it typically takes 6 months to 12 months, all right? 6 to 12 months. So what you wanna do is you wanna build a pipeline, all right? If you're a GC, you're gonna see that this is gonna take a lot longer because oftentimes you have to get involved in these projects in the planning stages, when they're still designing, during the design development, during the budgeting stages, and you can't even bid the job because the plans aren't ready. However, if you do this consistently and you do this for months and months and months, you are going to be rewarded handsomely. So just to explain what I mean, if right now we're in April, and let's say 3, 4, 5 months from now, so April, May, June, July, August, September. So let's say we're in April. So let's say around like, I don't know, August, those first round of jobs, whatever you bid in April, it starts hitting in August, right? And then whatever you do in May is going to start hitting September, October. And then whatever you do in, May, June is going to start hitting like towards the end of the year, right? And then eventually, so it just keeps doing this, boom, boom, boom. If you do that consistently, all those jobs will have been awarded to somebody. It may be your GC. If you're the GC, hopefully it's you, not one of your competitors. But the point is that there's that It's like a sales cycle, or it is a sales cycle, that in commercial, there's always a longer sales cycle. When you're in residential, you usually go, you submit a proposal, you do your measurements, and a week later they're hiring you and they're giving you 50% deposit, quick cash, quick fast money. But in commercial, you're gonna have $1 million contracts, hundreds of thousands of dollar contracts. You just have to be patient. All right. So that's just kind of like a word of warning or a word of caution that you have to be patient if you want to see the results of this. So you just keep doing these activities over and over and over. You're going to see the results 6 months later to a year. So now you have money in the bank. Boom. Fast forward a year. You've been doing this consistently. Now you have a lot of money in the bank. Now you have money that you can hire people with. You have a pipeline. How great is it to know, hey, I already have jobs lined up for the next 6 months to a year? Isn't that amazing? I know a lot of contractors that they're going like month to month, like, hey, I got something now, but I don't really have anything next month. And that kind of sucks because it puts a lot of stress, a lot of worry. If you have payroll, if you have salaries. I had a guy the other day, he was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so concerned about payroll because every week I got to make sure that I have enough payroll to, like, jobs to pay these guys. And that sucks. It's really nice that you can have a long-term outlook, like 6 months to a year, or like in Matt's case, he knows that he's going to have work for the next 3 years. So I wouldn't slow down. I would keep being aggressive and bid more work and keep going. But at least you know that you're not going to be worrying about, hey, I'm not going to eat tomorrow. All right. So now you have the new projects. Now we got to supplement all this work that we did. Now we have to do the work. We have to supplement the activity. So now our crews, or where you are now doing whatever revenue you're at, you probably have to add some crews. So what I'm going to recommend is that you're going to do 1099 crews and or subcontractors. All right. So these are small crews, sometimes like 5-10 man crews that they can come in, knock out a project for you, right? If you're a GC, you can self-perform a lot of this work. You can hire guys, pay them by the hour, pay them by week, source the material yourself, right? Keep the overhead real low, as low as possible. You want to eliminate hiring employees until you absolutely need to. Now you have to hire that general superintendent. So the general superintendent is a person that is going to manage all field activities. Like, you should never get a phone call from the field unless it's related to contracts or unless it's related to like the business in general. Like, his job is to handle the field. That's the only way it's going to work. So a salary like that is typically about $100,000 a year. And typically it's somebody that's been in the business for 10, 20, 30, even 30 years. Sometimes you want to get those old school guys, those veterans that have been there, done that, because they're the ones that are really going to take control and they're going to know more than you. And that's the truth. But even though it's a big salary, it doesn't even really matter because these are direct job costs. So in your estimate, aside from all of your labor and material costs, you should have a dedicated line item that's for your general superintendent or your field supervision, project management. So all these high level salaries, they're going to be built into the job cost. So the owner of the job is paying, it's not you. Just want you to know that it becomes a direct job cost. So the good news is when you start winning these jobs, that you have multiple jobs at the same time, that general superintendent can actually run multiple jobs at the same time. So his salary could be spread out over a few different jobs. All right. So now 90% of your day is going to be covered. If you notice, the first person I told you to hire is a general superintendent, because I bet you if you go through your workday and you kind of like do an analysis, probably 90% of your time is handling the field. So I've given you back 90% of your life. So now you can go out there and sell more jobs, you can hire more people, and the next person that you're gonna wanna hire eventually is a project manager. So you don't wanna do it right now. What you wanna do is you wanna have 3 or 4 or 5 jobs running at the same time. And once you get to that volume of work that you're doing like 5 jobs at the same time, you're gonna hire a project manager, and he's gonna run the contracts, the contract administration for it. So the contracts, the change orders, the RFIs, the submittals. He's gonna be overall in charge of the project. That's gonna be his job, all right? And once you hire that project manager, the next person you're gonna wanna hire is an office manager. So the office manager is someone that can do your bookkeeping, your payroll. They're the ones that are gonna do all the administrative activities. They're the ones that are gonna be checking your QuickBooks. They're the ones that are gonna be submitting the payments to your suppliers. So that's a very important role because they're handling your money. Then at a certain point, you might wanna hire an estimator in-house. This is optional. This is if you want. But if you're working with an estimating company, there might not be a need for it. Because think about it, at its core, an estimate is an appraisal. It's an appraisal of what the cost of the job is. And then obviously your part is adding your supervision and your overhead and some other company specific activities. But at the end of the day, the job costs, the labor material costs, they're usually the same for everybody. You might get drywall 3 cents a square foot cheaper, but at the end of the day, it's not really gonna matter because that's negligible cost, right? Where really the considerations go in are the profit margins, the overhead and things like that. That's where you really see the differences between companies. So it might even be better to hire a bid coordinator that can double up as a salesperson and talk to clients rather than someone a nerdy guy sitting in your office, clicking the buttons, doing a takeoff. Now, if you notice, in order to do any of this, The very first step is you have to win more projects. And in order to win more projects, you have to get more leads. So if you want to learn how to get leads, how to estimate your jobs, how to negotiate them, you want to learn how to hire these crews, you want to learn how to do all this stuff, I talk about this in depth inside of my Contractor Sales Academy. I'm going to put a link in the description below. You're going to see 8-figure Contractor Sales Academy. Or if you just want to learn how to get leads and you just want a quick crash course, go ahead and watch this video where I'm going to talk about exactly how you're going to find these projects, how you're going to research them, and how you're going to reach out to them. All right, so let's go.